All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Free Thinkers. I'm Q. That's Denise. And where are you? This is my invitation for anybody who's listening right now. Make sure that you come join us. So for those like Denise who don't get to come in once a month and see us live in person, make sure you come tap in on the weekly basis when we come on every Tuesday at 8:05 and we talk that talk. So for those of you who do not know, Free Thinkers is a community that tries to live up to our name. We are working and striving to be open-minded, free-thinking people, to learn, to understand, to use other people's opinions and thoughts and processes to better help ourselves understand, especially in a world where communication seems to be increasingly frowned upon. So if you want to join us, make sure you go to, if you're listening like on YouTube, go to the Facebook page. You can find the link. All you got to do, if you've never been on StreamYard before, just click on it. It'll put you into the waiting room. Make sure you got something in your ears to listen to. And then we just have a conversation. So I say this, and a lot of times I give it more attention because I think when there's certain times when people get used to just seeing me and Nikki, me and Denise and Nikki, they think that this is just our show. Free Thinkers is for everybody. And this live show is for everybody. So we want to hear your opinions. I've even heard people say like, man, y'all, I get intimidated listening to y'all. Don't be intimidated. Just you got an opinion just like everybody else. We've gotten comfortable speaking live over the internet waves, and you will too. Once you get in here, you'll forget that there's potentially dozens, if not hundreds, of people that will be watching this at some point in time. So don't even think about that. Don't even think about it. I don't even think about it at all. I tell so much of my business on here because I just be talking like it's just me and you.
I forget, like I literally forget, and I'm like, but I start thinking back over the years, and I'm like, I wonder how much stuff I've said.
Let me say this: there is a therapy and a freedom with learning to be transparent. And transparency for most people is something that has to be practiced. It's not for very select few, it's a natural thing, but for most people you have to practice transparency, and the more you practice it, the more it becomes liberating and freeing, and it's therapeutic. So keep in mind with that adult content, adult language, just be mindful of who you're watching around, depending on what you want them to hear. And, if they're sensitive ears, just keep that in mind. But today we're going to jump in. I think we got an interesting, topic today. Now there's basically two words to this topic. One of the words I'm familiar with, and the other one is pretty foreign to me. I don't know about that, so I'm gonna let.
Really now?
Oh yeah, that ain't. So yeah, I'm gonna let Denise quarterback this thing because I'm like, this ain't. I don't know about that C word. That's a curse word to me.
So for those,
especially at my age. But go ahead.
For those who are just tuning in, this is Free Thinkers. And today we are talking about sex and celibacy. So, just to give y'all some backstory on how this actually came to be, my partner sent me this screenshot of an article and they were talking about the dating app Bumble. So, the dating app Bumble, they did this campaign where they were basically like anti-celibacy. And it was very interesting. I'm going to give y'all the exact quote from the ad. Looking good, Nikki.
No, do you, or is that me? You look, I don't know. Did you freeze up? You
Well,
might
I
want
mean,
to
she
come
looks
out and come back
beautiful, but
again.
she is frozen. She's frozen in
It's
her
like,
beauty.
no, you ain't looking good.
Nikki, you're frozen in your beauty. We need you to reconnect.
I'm a podcast. I'm talking about the quality of your feed.
Yeah. You're still frozen, Nikki.
Yeah, you kind of froze. You might just want to come all the way out and come back in. I don't know.
Yeah.
You might got a bad signal. I don't know.
So they ran this billboard campaign, and it has like these women. It's mainly
Bumble.
It seems
You
like
saying Bumble ran this billboard campaign?
Yes,
Okay.
Bumble. If you look up Bumble celibacy, you can show the people the billboard campaigns, and they say things like, "You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer." There you go, Nikki.
I'm so sorry.
Beautiful and in motion.
I had hella technical difficulties. My phone was not letting me get on. Sorry.
So we were just telling the viewership how Bumble ran that anti-celibacy ad campaign.
Did you share it?
I was trying to see if Q could find it.
Okay,
So
okay. I saved it on my damn phone and I forgot to load it. God, I'm sorry again.
Is that what you sent me, Nikki?
No, but it was in our text. It's in our text messages.
Yeah.
It'll take me.
If you search Bumble
second,
celibacy, it will immediately pop up
True.
when you go to Google Images.
Let me see.
Okay.
And so the ads say things like, "You know full and well a vow of celibacy is not the answer." And then
I just feel like people need to see this fucking ad.
I wanted to see it too.
They need to see the ad because to me, I saw the images that you sent of the ad, right? And then I saw what you said, and then I had to go back and read the fucking ad because I was like, wait a minute, that says what I think is that's actually says that, and I was like, whoa. And then immediately when you got into just like the idea, of the sexualization part, I was like, that's it. That's fucking it. Like, and this is a billboard, assuming like on a highway somewhere, because that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
See, when I typed in Bumble celibacy, that's not popping up for me.
It's not?
Let me see. Let me try.
If you go to the images section.
I did. Let me see.
Then there's another one that says, "Thou shalt not give up on dating and become a nun." Like,
there it is.
Okay,
yeah, it does. Thou shalt not give up on dating and become a nun. Damn. Okay, so did Q get it? Let me see. CELE. Just totally changed pages. So, okay, obviously so they know what we're talking about, the Bumble celibacy. Let's see.
We just want to show y'all the ads, y'all. Just bear with us because we just want you to see the visual of what this ad is.
Oh,
yeah.
It's gonna take me a second because you have to load in StreamYard. I have to load it in StreamYard, so it take me a second before it come in.
I might even.
I'm trying to Twitter finger my fingers off. Hold on.
Is it a video or just a post?
Just a post.
It's just a picture.
Just an image.
Oh, okay.
Just an image. Hold on.
I can flip my camera.
You gave me this old blurry picture, Nikki.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't send a picture. Let me me see.
Oh, well, then Denise sent this blurry picture. I can't even. Yeah, that was Denise.
Wonder if y'all can see it on here.
1982
That's
pixelated.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
A vow of celibacy is not the answer. Okay, yeah, we can see that good. And what the second one say?
Oh,
And then
she went. There you go.
Yeah,
Hold on there for
you
a
got
second.
it? You got it, Nikki?
I can't. I stopped because you were doing that. Hold on, let's see.
Oh yeah.
No, we got it. Go ahead. Show the other one. We got it.
What was that? Thou shalt not give up on dating to become
You know
a
full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer. Okay, so that's their whole new slogan that they're saying right now.
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel, Denise?
Oh, when I saw that, because me and my partner have been talking about this a lot lately about how people, it seems like sex is being weaponized.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems like sex is being weaponized and everything is so hyper sexual all the time.
But okay, so explain to me, what do you mean? How is it being weaponized?
Because it's like, specifically, he always speaks to how this affects men, right? If as soon as you open your app, you seeing breasts, thighs, butt. As soon as you open your phone, right? It's like, it's almost like having access to soft porn. And maybe I'm putting a little more sauce on it, but having access to something.
And don't. You don't even have to put soft on there because it straight up is.
Yeah, and then there's just having access to like porn. Like they say Twitter has the best porn, and you could just be looking at something else, and then there'll be some porn that just pops up.
I didn't realize that till just a couple weeks ago. It was about a few weeks ago. Somebody told me about it. Was the whole time because in Texas they shut down Pornhub.
Yeah, they did.
So everybody was going in a frenzy, and then people was like, "Well, just go to Twitter like we always." I'm like, "What? Twitter be showing?" They were like, "Yes, Twitter."
People getting Twitter accounts all of a sudden.
I was like, "Oh, I set up my Twitter account." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that."
Yeah, and so it just seems like that was kind of where our conversation has been for the past like month or so, just talking about that. Like he lives in Houston, so it's like always constantly seeing women with BBLs. And I don't know if y'all see women with BBLs a lot in person, but usually when a woman has a BBL, she has her... don't match. Huh?
I said, and the thighs don't match.
The end of that song. But that she'll usually, and this is not just women with BBLs, but a lot of women are wearing these tights and they're taking the tights and just hiking them up their ass. And
well, they make the tights like that now, where they automatically go up and cuff.
It just goes straight into your behind, and you can just see everything, you know. And so it's just like all the time being.
I go to the gym every time I go to the gym.
Yeah. You know, you're just constantly being fed these sexual images all the time. And it's like, what is that doing to your mental? Like, even to the point where I'm like getting tired of it. And I had to like reflect on my own, how I've contributed to this whole thing. Like, I've like went through my Instagram. I like pulled a bunch of pictures down that I had. Like, I try to just be more mindful how I like walk through the world. And some of it's probably maybe because I'm in a relationship too. And it just like, but then I also think about how I was when I was single. I mean, it's brought on so much. I know you've asked me the question, like, how did it make me feel? But what it made me feel like is there's an attack that people are using. I feel that women are starting to wake up, and people are starting to wake up, and people are starting to be more aware of how sex may be affecting their dating lives, affecting themselves. And I think some people are choosing celibacy. You
think women feel that way?
I I think that women are starting to wake up to that. I do. Now, men, I don't know. I don't know how men feel. It's like being in this world as a man from a like Playboy standpoint and not dating standpoint. I can imagine this is like the best world ever because women are.
No, it's not.
It's
It's the
not
worst. No, because
interesting.
this is what's happening is that yes, people, and I'll include women, are weaponizing sex, but they are not. They're doing it for their own gain now. So now you get people who they wear very little, they dress very sexy and provocative, but don't speak to them, don't say nothing to them. I'm doing this for the gram, I'm doing this for my followership, I'm doing this to build my brand. But it's not actually something that's invited. It's just if you like what you see, then I need you to follow my Instagram page. I don't actually want you to talk to me or speak to me or try to start up a conversation. I want you to go be one of my followers on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. That's how this thing works now. And for a lot of men are turned off to that. It's like, you look like you want a lot of attention. So even if I come at you correct and I try to spark up a conversation, why would you? It's not the equivalent, but it's like me. One of the things I always say, blue, black, gray are my favorite colors. I don't like wearing a lot of bright, flashy things because I don't like drawing attention to myself. Now, if I was to walk out with my shoulders out and the wife beater and this and this and that, and then people came on to me, then I would understand like I'm drawing a certain type of attention. So I understand, but it looks like you're doing the most. So if I come out in a lime green tank top and some rainbow shoes, and then people start coming, oh, I like what you're wearing. This, hey, I ain't in the mood to talk right now. Well, you sure is wearing a whole lot of stuff. Like you're doing a lot of things to garner attention for you not to want anybody to speak to you. And that's the vibe that a lot of men are getting right now.
Interesting. Okay. So, what were you gonna say, Nikki?
Well, so Q's first statement was not Q's first statement. One of the things that Q said was that women are also participating in the weaponization, right? Let's say of sex. And I agree with you, but we went different ways on this, actually. I agree that there is obviously an element in which we are, because we're not going to not be part of the problem, right? Like we're both sexes are at fault and have their hand in some of this. However, I think for women, it was also more of a response, right? So realistically, our ways of acting out with sex or sexualization or body or modesty or lack thereof was a response to what was done to women, right? With the patriarchal society of wherever you come from. However, with that being said, I dislike what has happened with women and sexuality. And I feel like maybe I don't think I was brand new coming into like something, right? Leaving a very long-term relationship, but having been single from, let's say, 2017 on, just in my research of humans and single people and married people and committed people or supposed to be committed people and sex, and just the way that women have taken their body and have gone from you can't tell me what to do to fucking roster nation, fuck everything nation, like put my whole body out there for everybody nation. And yeah, you can do that. Anybody should be able to do really whatever they want with their body, whatever feels right for you. Like, I'm not judging somebody for being comfortable in their body and comfortable in their skin and not letting society or religion or something tell you what is good or bad or what you can and can't do. But enough is a fucking enough. Like, I love sex. I love beautiful women. I love beautiful men. Like, I love all of the things about what turns us on, about what sex turns us on, right? But to get to the point where, like, on social media, you're just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I've literally just started unfollowing. Like, And it's not because I'm an insecure woman, because they're going to say, oh, that's just the insecure bitch. No, I'm not insecure. Like, you may definitely have a way better fucking body than me, natural or not. The bitch is beautiful. It's not about that. It's like, that's all you got. That's all we see. That's all you show us. And then you get mad in the comments. Oh, I don't care about your opinion. Well, yes, you do. Or you don't pay my bills. Well, isn't that what you're looking for? Like, I don't like what has happened. Like, nothing is sacred anymore. Nothing is private anymore. Like, we've talked about this with the porn thing before, that back in the day when we were kids, you couldn't go to the corner store and look at a naked magazine. Like, you knew what section they were in, but they had a black wrap around them, right? So you couldn't see anything that was in the contents of them. Now, my fucking kids have had everything taken from them just by having access to the internet, and how willingly we put our pussy on the social media and the internets for free. For free, for free, for free, for free, for free. And so I strongly agree with you that sex has been weaponized, so much so that now we see so much conversation about pedophilia happening. And now you're starting to see like these micro levels of predator versus pedophile, or, you know, things that you might not have looked at differently before, because now everybody's talking about young girls and young boys and old men and old women and 50-year-old women and 22-year-old men and 60-year-old men and 19-year-old women. And it's like, something about sex has been weaponized that has allowed us to socially accept that as normal, and just continue to subscribe to this as women's empowerment, right? Like body empowerment. I don't know if that's that, because all of that shit that's out there can't be put back. So the weaponization part, we can't undo what's been done, in my opinion. You don't think it can be? You think it can be put back?
No, I was just gonna say, when you say that they're putting their bodies and stuff out there for free, I don't. That's not entirely true. They're doing it for profit.
I mean, no, but it's not like it's not like you have to go and seek it out. You can't go to the club and see it. You can't go to a brothel and see it. You can't go to a madam's house and see it. You can't go to the motherfucking street downtown where all the girls be at posting up. Like, you know what's going on down there. Like,
right. I'm just saying they're not doing it for free. They're doing it. They're putting it on their OnlyFans. They're monetizing their bodies.
Not all of them. A lot of these girls doing it for free.
Even the ones who are not, they are aspiring to do it. Most of them. I ain't gonna say 100%, but most of them, because I told this is the Kim Kardashian effect. Where someone who, you can't sing, you can't act, you don't have any artistic talent, so you let your body and your brand, you let your body be your brand, and you can still be a superstar celebrity without having any notable talent. And that's what people are reaching for nowadays. So even if they haven't, they're trying to get their likes up, or they trying to get the right person to see them so they can, take them on a trip to Dubai. Like I said, they're not doing it for free in most cases. They have an agenda behind why they're doing it. And I said this, and I ain't gonna get off subject, but I said this. I said, as soon as that NIL came in, I don't know if I said it on this show or different. When the NIL with the college players starting to get paid now, I said,
can you elaborate and tell people what that is?
NIL, name, image, likeness. This is what allows, for the longest time, ever since the beginning of time, collegiate players, you could get a scholarship, but they would not pay you, even though they were making millions and billions of dollars off of you. They recently changed over the last couple of years, NIL, where the players can get paid off of their name, image, likeness. This was primarily for college football players, but when they changed it, they extended it to everybody, because that's only fair. So once you could start making money off of your name, image, and likeness, people started investing more in their likeness. And you had all of the women's basketball team, when you would see they had shorts down to their knees. Now you look at Angel Reese and some of these people who got NIL money. Before she ever stepped foot in the WNBA, she's already a millionaire. She's already made a millionaire off of her endorsements, off of her followers on all of her different platforms. And you look at the way that they dress. Sha'Carri Richardson, all of them, they'd say, we're gonna make sure we done up. We ain't gonna put the cornrows and just roll them back in our head. No, we're gonna have our long hair flowing. We're gonna have our shorts as short as they could possibly be. We're gonna have our make. You going to play a basketball game, you got makeup on. I said, you just watch. And when they seen people start making money and getting attention off of that, now everybody's starting to do it more and more. You see them shorts come up because they know sex sells. And let me sell myself and get my fans and followership up. Anyway, that's just a little side note, but I said all of this stuff was going to happen. But go ahead, Denise.
I want to ask you, Q, from the perspective as a man, do you think that you can possibly be sexually overstimulated? Like, do you think that it could get to the point where it might take a man a little bit more to become aroused because he's constantly bombarded with seeing titties, ass, thighs, and can do that at a moment's notice, and even when he may not even want to see that? Can that happen? And then what do you think that does for young men who are growing up and have access to this with no regulations and are not even sure what this is doing to their brains while they're developing still?
Yeah, so
I
you
know
don't
that was a
even need
loaded
my opinion.
question.
You don't need my opinion on that. That's an actual fact. Overstimulation is absolutely a real thing, and it's the things that create dopamines and that excitement and that arousal. If you get too much of it, then it's with anything. It's just like anyway, I ain't gonna go into that, but you get aroused the first time. I remember, I don't know, 5th, 6th grade, I seen a naked woman. Like, oh my goodness. Somebody passed along a little picture and it was like, oh my God, that was just the craziest thing I ever seen. And you keep seeing it and you still aroused. You see it. So then what happens is you either get less aroused or you need to see more. So we had this little picture that we was passing around, but after you seeing that, then it's like, okay, well, do you got another picture? Okay, well, then do you got a video? Okay, then do you got like, either I have to see more or I will grow tired of what I'm seeing, the dopamine. So if the very first time because I was an alcoholic virgin, I did not drink hardly at all. 1.5 beers would have me buzzed and tipsy. You can if you keep drinking those beers long enough, then it's like water to you. It don't mean nothing. So either I'm gonna keep drinking that same beer and have less and less of an effect, or I have to drink more. Now I have to drink 2, or I have to drink 3, I have to drink 4. Then I need something stronger. This is only 4.5%. Now I go up to what's 8%. Now let me just get a rum and Coke instead, so I have something that's a high. So you always got to keep upping it because, like you said, it's a universal law. That's not even just the sex is a part of that, and the exposure to sex is a part of that. But that's anything that you do repetitively, especially that gives you that it excites your dopamine and pulls that response out of you. It's not designed to give you that same effect. Dope heads will tell you that they still chasing after the first high. There was nothing like that first high, and they still chasing after it. So you got to get even more. You got to find something stronger. You got to.
Look what I just read, y'all, because my brain started going when you were saying this, and I was wondering, can like overstimulation lead to ED, erectile dysfunction?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. 100%. I've already taught my son about that. I've already experienced that.
Really?
I had porn-related ED, yeah.
Unpack this. I mean, what do you think you would have done if you would have had access to something like this when you first saw the naked lady in the picture? Imagine if you had a phone at that age, Q.
Literally.
What do you think your life would be like, honestly?
No, yeah, I feel sorry for kids nowadays. And then, because even when you're not looking for it, they're still going to throw it in your face. You could be
Yes.
playing just some little random video game, and then they're gonna start. So what they start doing oftentimes, they'll
Oh,
have
the
these little
innuendos are
sexy games,
horrible.
the little anime games, and they have this
Yep.
real seductive
Yep.
woman, and then you click on that, and then they keep giving
Yep.
you more and more. Next thing you know, you on Reddit or Twitter or on something else, and you
Yep.
watching full-fledged porn. That's how
Yep.
they try to get it should be illegal. That stuff is wrong, but
It should absolutely be illegal, but it's not because our fucking society is run by pedophiles. Their whole mission is to literally use sex for whatever purpose they can. Like, there's no reason why, and I know exactly a couple of these games you're talking about. I've seen like little sponsored ads on my Facebook, and I'll catch it for a second. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I'm like, I bet my kids have seen this shit too. Like, as a mom, that is the part that makes me absolutely sick, is that not even the fact that I can't control those factors, but the fact that I can't control those factors, right? Like, they have a phone. That's it. That's it. Like, the shit that they've seen at their young age, I damn sure never saw at that age. Like, I didn't, right? And it's not like the shit wasn't out there. Just the access to it was definitely not the same. And that's the shit we can't put back. And so now that's all been normalized. Now that's what to expect. Like, I've literally had to have conversations with my kids about porn is not regular fucking sex. That's not normal. Like, if you go out here in the world trying to fuck people like a porn star, and you got to be really careful how you talk to your kids, right? Because as a grown ass woman, I want to fuck somebody's son who's a porn star, right? But like, you got to teach your kids in a way where it's like, but that is not normal expectations going into some shit. Whatever you explore about how you like to have sex or what turns you on or doesn't turn you on, it's almost like that natural part has been completely fucking removed because you've seen 75 men do 75 women and 14 different animals, and like normal shit just don't happen no more. Like, it's
right.
That part is the part that fucks me up, because like, you just can't keep that away from your kids. And that's what I mean. People used to be mad about teachers at school and schools having like sex ed conversation. Like, you got in trouble for that shit. Now the internet's just like, here, type in the word and we can show you every type of sex you could ever possibly imagine. And you can't put that back once they've seen that. That's fucked up. That should absolutely be illegal. I agree.
You know what one of my concerns is with there being, like, I have no idea, like, when I start to think about having kids, I have no idea how to go about teaching them how to navigate this. Like, I have no idea how do you tell them how to navigate besides having to have this very straightforward conversation. Because also my fear is that when they're being exposed to, a lot of time porn just comes off very violent.
Yes.
And there's something that Q said that I'll never forget, which is when we were talking about when you're dating and you're single, and you have to be careful even in your singleness to not build a certain appetite for something so that you can then go into a committed relationship. But if your appetite is for just having sex with everybody,
put down the rolls, ladies. Put it down.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna be right after that.
The what?
I said, put that rose down with the pink rose, the red rose, whatever rose that is.
Yo,
put it down.
I had one of those silver bullets. Okay.
Yes.
I had one
back in the day.
As silver bullet, and TMI, y'all, but I'm gonna bring it around town. And I used to use it all the time because I mean, I'm telling you, that thing can get you from 0 to 60.
It was perfect.
Like, I'm talking about boom, you know exactly where you need to put it in your area, and you're there. And it just, and I realized, I was like, oh, I don't even want to have sex like that.
And I probably wouldn't want to have sex with a woman who uses that all the time. I'm like, listen, I can't compete with that bullet. It's certain things I can do, but there's other things I can't do. And I sure can't do both of them at the same time in the way that bullet can.
I'm never picking a toy over a man or my man, but
I mean, if you're just like, I want to come real quick, I don't feel like going through the process.
That's fine, right?
I'm lazy. It builds a laziness Now
Yes.
you're not even worried about, because you're just like, I can do this real quick. Why the hell would I go through the process of, you know, sucking your dick and you doing it? We have to get each other to a point. We gotta
Yep.
you know, it builds like a laziness, and then it almost builds like it literally makes it literally desensitizes the clitoris. It literally makes it to where certain things that would typically feel very good, they don't, because you literally have this machine moving at the speed of light.
Right. And then
doing
somebody
things.
like, oh,
She said
yeah,
the speed of light.
right. Much faster than the tongue can move. I mean, the tongue can't move that fast.
No man on earth can do this.
That's why I said, I'm like, I ain't trying to compete with that.
And so I'm saying all that to say it's like so much desensitization. Am I saying that?
Desensitization.
Yes. Going on, that I think that people will fail to be aware of what's real and what's not. Like, sex is not supposed to be violent. Sex is not supposed to feel like that fast. There's not supposed to be that much quickness, like touching your clitoris, and that much pressure. That's just not a normal, natural thing. So when we're moving through life doing so many things that are so unnatural, I can just only imagine what type of effects that has on people who don't know a life before that. We know life before a lot of this shit. What does that do to someone who doesn't know life before that? Can some of this be contributing to a lot of like assault that's happening out there because people have like a skewed idea of what it's like to be sexual? Like, and then it's like, if your first real sexual experience is like just constant porn that you're seeing on your phone, what, like, when you first have your real sexual experience with a human being,
what are you gonna even do with that?
what are you gonna do? Do you even know how to read the signs to know? Like, that's why consent's so important, because you gotta, I mean, sorry, I can go on. Somebody please take the wheel.
Well, but it's crazy though, right? Because somewhere in there, something had to, like, something, well, the internet, that's what happened. Somewhere in there, that's what happened. The internet happened. Like, that's literally it, because you, as you're talking about just like the natural flow of, like, you know, get to know somebody, and like just like regular people sex, right? Like foreplay and all these things. Like, if you don't have anything to compare it to, and it's your first time going into it, but all you've been inundated with was whatever your fucking porn fetish is, because you don't know what to compare it to. And this shit gets me ready, gets me hard, or whatever the case may be, right? That's all you know. So this is what you take going into it. Like, do you even go through like the regular process that we used to go through back in the day, where like, you know, you got like the touchy feely, and then you got felt up maybe, and then like maybe, you know, y'all play with each other downstairs, and then a little bit upstairs. Like I just think about, I'm sure each one of us remembers like our first couple kisses and the first couple people that, you know, we let touch us and that we touched. Like, does that shit even happen anymore with our kids, because they're so flooded with sexual imagery, sexual music, sexual expectations? I mean, a fucking billboard that says, you know, celibacy isn't the way to go. Like, what? Like, to hell with shaming people to go to hell for premarital sex. We went the whole other fucking end of the spectrum. Like, whoa.
Overcorrection.
Whoa, yeah, absolutely overcorrection. And I think in the worst possible way. And I'm not a fucking prude at all, but I think it is the absolute worst thing that's happened to us.
Celibacy is the answer, so I agree with the.
You don't think celibacy is the answer?
No.
As a married person, I would definitely have a problem with fucking celibacy.
Oh, marriage ain't got nothing to do with it. No. Outside
single?
of being married, that ain't got nothing to do with it.
Okay, Q, unpack.
And even just for the record, 99% of the time when I'm on Free Thinkers, I don't speak as anything. I don't speak as a married person, a single person. I just speak my mind openly, as if those boundaries don't apply to me. But
Well,
What
real
are you
quick, hold on,
asking?
because Jules hopped in the midst of a bunch of shit. Jules, do
Yeah,
you
go
have
ahead.
anything you want to add to what we've talked about so far before we go on to the Q's next train of thought?
I remember as a kid, same thing you were talking about, going to the store, and my parents owned a motorcycle store, so we had the racks with those
Right.
magazines with the
Literally
black
rats.
cover on them. So like I knew like we had motorcycle magazines, and when we had those magazines, and it's sad to me that the kids don't have the opportunity to be kids, and it's definitely gender is being weaponized, sex is being weaponized. And I heard what you said about the women taking over, and I think that was an overcorrection too. My mom used to always say the pendulum swings, and it goes from one extreme to the other, and hopefully it levels back out pretty quickly. But sometimes it just keeps swinging from one extreme to the other. And so now we're having these campaigns, right, saying that celibacy is not the answer, when we live in a time where they've overturned Roe versus Wade, and young women don't have the same medical available to them anymore that they did, without having to travel extensively and potentially face legal issues and complications and everything. So go out there and screw your brains out, and you have consequences from that. Don't know what to tell you. Sorry, no.
Shame on you. You should have kept your legs closed.
Right? Yeah, it's the catch.
Should have kept your legs closed.
Again, the women are the ones who bear the consequence for the rest of our lives. Whether they keep the child, whether they give the child up for adoption, no matter what the outcome of it is, women are the ones that bear those responsibilities. Because I personally have friends who have gone through all the different paths. And in speaking to these women over my lifetime, they all carry these. We all, as a woman, no matter what, once that happens, you carry it forward. So we have this, don't be celibate, go out there and screw everybody. But, to hell with the consequences, you got to deal with that now. And I definitely feel like I found out years after my divorce that one of the women that my ex-husband started dating met him, and the thing that they had in common was 12-step program, and her from heroin and drug and alcohol addiction, and him from Sex Addicts Anonymous. So I was married to someone who had a sex addiction, and I had no idea. Oh, wow. He hid it, like all of it was so hidden. But I can tell you that was the longest period I went in my life when I was in a relationship of any sort without sex. And to find out afterwards that he had a sex addiction, I understand now why we weren't having intercourse, because he was addicted to the pornography and the chats and the whatever else he was doing. Wow. So the relationship suffered tremendously. And having talked to another friend of mine who is a guy who has realized and gone through and is in SA for porn addiction, like out of the blue, he reached out and started talking to me about it. And he's married, but his marriage was failing. And he had to really look at himself and understand that was part of what was happening, was because his expectations in the bedroom were so unrealistic. And it really didn't matter. His wife is beautiful. It really didn't matter what she did. It did not. It was not. He could click a button and get exactly what he visually needed. If that wasn't doing it, click, 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 keep typing in a new thing.
Like that goes back to Q saying it's like any other addiction. Yeah, your tolerance just continues to go up.
Hit the dopamine a little harder. Oh, that wasn't doing it for me. Let me try this fetish. Let me try that kink. Let me look at this thing. And he was about, they were not doing good at all. And he's, I don't know, I guess it's about 1.5 years now. And last time I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, things were doing much better with him and his wife, thank God. Wow. But at the end of the day, a big part of it was because she was doing everything she could, baby, how can I, what can I, blah, blah, blah. And not having any idea that every time he walked away from her and he was on that phone, and every time she was asleep, because he worked different shift than her, that, every time he was off work and she was asleep or she was at work, that he was on that computer. She had no idea. And it's sad because at
How
the
do
end
you
of the day,
compete with that as a
you can't.
partner?
You
How
can't.
do you compete with that? What the fuck are you supposed to do as a partner? What do you do?
Well, and especially when you look at all the models and all the IG models and all the filtered, they don't look like that. They take the perfect pose, the perfect, they know how to sit and stand, and so they're posed perfectly to make everything look the best to begin with. I mean, Nikki, your daughter's a model. She knows how to walk a runway and how to stop and to turn and to spin and to look in the camera and the angles. She knows how to do those things. So first, you have people who are studying their angles and they know how to present themselves in the best light. Then they're filtered on top of that. Real women can't compete with that shit. The women that are in those videos don't look like that.
Right.
None of us can compete with that. At the end of the day, they can't compete with themselves on those videos.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely.
This is what they're exposed to 24/7. Our kids. Go ahead, Denise. Sorry.
It made me think about how I just really feel like so there's a few things I want to say. So the first thing I want to say is like, with the whole idea of filters and all this stuff, I feel like filters were the soft launch, and I may have mentioned this in this group before, that filters were like the soft launch to just like AI porn. Because when you start getting used to not seeing no stretch marks, not seeing no cellulite, your expectation of a woman looking like this, and then you have this perfect like model or whatever the case may be, and then we got VR headsets. Okay, now I'm going doomsday with it, but now we got VR headsets, and then they're getting more creative with the sex dolls and all of that stuff. It's like, it's literally like, I feel like we're being walked into just constant, like, I feel like we're being walked into like the Matrix, where it's some version of just constant stimulation all the time, to where no, you're not like locked away in a cage, but you damn near may as well be at this point. So that was like one thing that I thought about. And as far as the celibacy campaign, the anti-celibacy campaign, I felt like that was just capitalism move. Because if you're telling everyone, fuck everybody, go and fuck to your heart's desire, that person's not getting off the app.
Right.
They're not going to ever be in a relationship.
And yeah, exactly. So if I can keep you here, like, hey, your little $9 a month or whatever the fuck that shit costs, right? But like, it's like a drug dealer. If I just keep putting, coke on the table. Excuse me.
Well, hold on. Is the opposite of celibacy just screwing your heart out? I don't think you just have to hump any and everything. I think that's one side or the other. If you can say, no, I'm not celibate, but I'm just not active right now. Like, I'm waiting for the right person. Like, the opposite of celibate is not just humping whoever I feel like how often I feel like it.
Okay, but that's celibacy.
What is the difference between being single, not in a relationship, and choosing not to sleep with anyone, and celibacy? Because that's the definition of celibacy, I thought.
But I think it's a mindset to say, where you have a mindset to say, I am committing to this period of time or this space in my life to where I will not, and I am not going to engage in sexual activity.
But see, it doesn't even become something that you have to work at. It just is what it is. Like, the act of celibacy is you haven't had sex, right? And then you get past a point where it's just some people, you just don't care anymore, right?
But
and
I don't call that being celibate, though. That's not being celibate.
But you don't have to work hard. You don't have to actively work hard. You don't position your life in a way where
if there are men approaching me and I'm still choosing not to fuck them, then that is a choice. That is a choice of celibacy. But it's because it's not the right person, not the right partner. It's not because I don't call that celibacy. I didn't make some vows like a monk to say I'm not going to sleep with anyone for X amount of whatever.
Right, right.
I'm going to respect my body and myself and my spirit enough to not allow the wrong person to have that sort of access to me.
So let me read the definition of celibacy, because I always got the best and worst definitions, right?
Yeah, that's
So
fine. I'm about to
celibacy
look up the
says
same thing.
state of voluntarily being unmarried, sexually abstinent, or both, usually for religious reasons. So it's same
Right.
thing.
The
Like
state
celibacy, I don't
of
think
being, like it's a decision that you're making
right.
Yeah.
to say I'm going to refrain from this point in time. That's not the same thing Jules was saying, like, oh yeah, I see you, but you're not my cup of tea. So I'm gonna pass and I'm gonna keep passing until I find what I like. I don't call that celibacy. I just call
Right.
you making you making decisions
I
either
think
to
that
say
is
yes
a
or
form
no.
of celibacy, because
I
sometimes
don't
there
think
might be
so,
someone.
because your mindset is not saying, oh, I'm not having sex right now. It's like, yeah, no, I'm having sex. It's just going to be with the right person, with the right vibe, with the right energy. And even if that takes 10, 12, 18 months,
Right.
that don't mean I'm being
3-4
celibate.
years.
Or 3, that doesn't mean I'm being celibate. It just means that I haven't found a suitable option that fits
So
my
you're saying the
criteria.
time period in my life where I chose not to date anyone because the last relationship had screwed my everything up so bad I knew I needed to heal. So in the beginning of that, I was making a choice to be celibate, but then once I started dating
Well, hold on.
and I chose not to just fuck anybody that I dated, that was no longer choosing celibacy.
I need
I'm
you to
confused.
be specific. Hold on. I need you to be specific, because when you say I'm choosing not to date anybody because I need to, figure myself out, to be you deciding to date. I know a lot of people who say, yeah, I'm not being in an exclusive relationship, I'm not dating, but that don't mean they wasn't screwing. So that's what
No,
I'm
it
saying.
wasn't
I want
any
to
of
make
that. So either way, whether right, I
Well,
am
I'm saying,
having
hold on.
no interactions with men, period, whatsoever. That could
Are
be
you
anything beyond friendship at all, whatsoever. No sexual interaction because my ex fucked me up so bad. I
okay?
need time to heal. Made that choice. That's a
Right.
choosing. So you're saying that was celibacy?
Yes, you've made a choice to say,
Okay.
no, I'm not. Until I heal, then I'm not going to engage in any
So
sexual activity.
So then when I started dating, and I still chose not to do that until I found the right person, you're
Still
saying that
celibate.
because I was dating, I was not choosing celibacy,
No, you
even though
can
I
be
wasn't fucking?
dating. You can be dating, but if you choose to refrain from sex, you're still celibate. There's a lot of people who are dating but still celibate.
True.
Yeah, so that's
True.
kind of what I'm speaking to. Like, I think
Yeah.
that there, when it comes to dating, in my opinion, if you want to seriously start dating so that you can eventually like date, and when I say seriously date, like date to find someone that you're going to marry if you're into
Right.
marriage,
Or just long-term commitment for sure.
commitment, if you're
Right.
into that,
Right.
I think it's probably a good idea to be celibate during that time period.
Why do you think
Until
that?
you
And I
find
agree
a
with you.
person
I
that
want to
you're
give my reason too. Why do you think that?
Okay.
Why are you laughing? Don't you think you should, like, I don't think
Hey,
you should be throwing that as a circle.
if you like it, I love it.
He didn't do one. He didn't do one. He did the opposite of what he overcorrected.
No,
I'm not saying
the
don't
correction I
ever
made
have
was
sex.
necessary correction.
But I think it's also I always feel like there is a difference though for men versus women, simply because women are penetrated and men are not. And I think sometimes men have a hard time like grasping the concept of why that's different, like why I think more women lean towards the value of celibacy before getting into like this is the one, right? I wish that more men would, because to Cassidy's point, having downtime in between is good. Like discipline, I feel like is I want a disciplined man. Like if you're going to be my husband, if you're going to be my fucking ride or die for the rest of my life, I want you to be disciplined and being able to, I'm disciplined. So if I'm showing that I can have discipline with my skin and my private parts, because I don't want to just have sex because I'm lonely, or I don't want to have sex just because I'm bored, or I don't want to have sex just because I'm fucking depressed, right? Like I've had discipline within self to be able to power through that shit, right? I would love to know my man has done the same thing. Like that brings a fucking energy to your whole core when you've gotten past what society says you have to do to feel better about yourself. You got to get under one to get over the other one. No, the fuck you don't, right? But for so many people, that is like the advice that is given. So I agree with you, Denise. And I wonder if, you know, more women think that way or why, as opposed to maybe men do or don't. But I think a period of celibacy before a long-term relationship is really fucking, I think it's amazing. I think it's healthy as shit. It says you waited. Like, we can all just go from bed to bed to bed to bed to bed, and baggage to baggage, a suitcase, the motherfucking purse, to boots and belts and hats and shoes and shit. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to come to you with all this goodness so I can get your goodness, so we don't have all that extra suitcases and shit, man. Like, get rid of that shit before you come to me, because I'm not coming to you fucked up and unhealed. I don't want a dude that's been ran through. Like, a dude doesn't really want a woman that's been ran through, right? Like, so having discipline with your body parts, that's almost as powerful as discipline with your diet, with your food, what you allow to go into your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, two different orifices, right? And it's all about control and discipline. So I liked that comment. And so I agree with you on that, Denise.
And I do too. I definitely do. I feel like that also, you know, I strongly believe in soul ties. And I don't want to be with a man who's got unfinished hundreds of soul ties with whoever, whatever. He's been out there with everything and not realizing the energy, not realizing the energy that he's bringing back to me. Like, and I do sadly think that there is something energetically even about the addiction of pornography and the use of that I feel like there are things, especially because of the content in a lot of them. And because of that whole, you know, get the dopamine hit and go into the harder and the harder and the harder things. And so I think that it stops being about just the straight act of sex and it becomes about other things. The role playing that's being done in those scenes becomes about other things. And I feel like those definitely have specific energy that comes with it. And I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. I don't want to have, I don't want it for myself. So yeah, I definitely feel like the man that I choose to be with should be in control enough of himself, his body, and also his emotions and his mind and his lust. That going to the strip club should not be your thing, because that got into that thread that you posted, Nikki, about the older guy who were, like, everybody started bringing it to the strip club. Well, she's over 18 if she was a stripper. That doesn't mean they're not predators. Old men going after these young 18-year-old girls who are in strip clubs and making it rain on them does not make them, because it's a profession that they chose, that doesn't make these men not predators. Like, it's all an energy exchange on top of, you know, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, they're going back and forth in legislation right now to try and reduce the charges that someone gets if they intentionally have sex with someone knowing they have HIV. Right now, they want to reduce the charges because they're saying now it's no longer a death sentence, that it's a lifetime. They actually on the floor in the conversations about it, they said it's like diabetes or heart disease. No, it's contagious, and a motherfucker gave it to you on purpose, exposed you to it on purpose. They are trying to kill us off, y'all. Like for real. And so go out there and don't be celibate. Celibacy is the worst thing you can do. And, you know, I'm from Louisiana, man. I'm born and raised in New Orleans. For Baton Rouge to be trying to do this in the state of Louisiana, they're cracking down and making all these other crimes serve longer sentences. But they're trying to say that if you intentionally expose someone to HIV, that it shouldn't be that big of a deal, that you shouldn't have as long of a jail sentence, as much of a fine. They're trying to reduce it down to like a $500 fine because you knowingly. Now someone who catches it from you.
I have a theory behind that, but that's for a whole other topic.
I mean, there's so many things behind it. And so yeah, celibacy, heck yeah. When I'm not with I'm a monogamous person. So when I'm not with a man that is my man, if it hasn't gotten to that point where we've had that conversation, no, I'm not. No, celibacy is perfect for me. I'm perfect with that. I'm fine with that, and I want him to be able to have the discipline to be able to do that too.
Q, I have a question. In your opinion, how does one prepare to be in a serious relationship, a committed relationship, and still like being like having sex with other people? Like, is that even a real thing? Like, like,
Yep.
please elaborate. Please
So,
elaborate how this works.
so it goes back to a general process of thought for me. Even when we talking about, because we're talking about, soul ties and all this transfer and energy, and people, you don't want to bring all of your past bodies into a new relationship. And I believe, based upon my experiences and the people I know, that um, for the most part, from that spiritual energy aspect, it has the power that you give it. Now, there is physical reactions and responses to you living a certain lifestyle, but think about this: if you know people who live in a poly community, and they're open, and they're open with their sexuality, and they have a lot more partners than we may have, and so forth like that. They happy. Do you think that they're not happy people? Do you think that they're not whole people? Do you think that they're damaged people? Do you think that they have bad energy? Many of them, most of them that I've met, if they're doing it right and for the right reasons, their energy, they're more whole and one with themselves than most of us are. Because oftentimes we haven't really asked ourselves the tough questions about ourselves, our sexuality, and who we are. So we still walking around halfway blind when they fully know who they are. But my point is, you can have a person.
I got pushed back
Okay,
on that, but I'll wait.
feel free to. But if you want to say the people who who are in open relationships, or they live certain type of lifestyle, if you think that they're not whole, if you think that they're damaged, if you think that they have bad energy because they have too many soul ties, I would disagree from my experience with a lot of those people. It's the energy that you sow. So for instance, you give it, and we're taught to give it that energy starting off. Little girls, y'all don't, you gotta protect yourself and stay sacred and do white flower, and they do little celibacy rings, and they do all of this stuff to where if you, one, have sex, or two, have sexual thoughts, your immediate thought is, this is bad. I'm bad. I'm, I don't, you feel that you've somehow devalued because you went against what society told you was proper for you to do. And I think that energy comes from your own shame. I could tell you, when I felt like every time I did something wrong and I was sinning and I was going to hell, and that was the energy from my own shame that was reciprocating inside of me. Now, when you get to a place to where you don't look at it like that, or let me say it like this: for a lot of women, men and women, but mostly women, if you've been traditionally having sex for the wrong reasons, like, I want to keep him, or I want him to be satisfied, I don't want him to go nowhere else, and I just want him to be, if you're having sex for the wrong reasons, that's creating bad energy within you. So when you feel you got all these bodies and this, more than likely you were having sex for the wrong reasons starting off. And from that, you see those people with that type of energy. So I firmly believe that in most cases, it will carry the energy that you give it. I'll stop for there.
Okay, I got some pushback. So I don't think that my poly friends have negative energy or whatever the case may be because of the number of partners. It's the choice of partner. And I think that when you are casually having sex, you're not necessarily taking into consideration the type of person you're having sex with and the type of energy that they carry. You're interested in one thing. Can you fuck and am I attracted to you? If that is the energy in which you move throughout the world and have sex, you are going to pick up on a lot of people's demons, because there's no way, Q, you know this from growing up in church, how these things go. You don't even got to be touching somebody for something to potentially jump on you, much less entering into someone or you letting someone enter into you. I think it's just a matter of picking the right partner. And I think it's very hard to have a clear mind when you're casually having sex. How do you build a relationship, a serious relationship with someone that you would consider being with, when you over here having sex with someone else? It's scatterbrained. It's scatterbrain activity. At some point, you have to stop and ask yourself, what do I want? What kind of person do I want being inside of me next to? Like, you are the sum of the people that you are around the most. What do you think you're the sum of the people that you've had sex with? What does that sum look like? Like, I feel like it is very like, you just have to be careful with who you exchange energy with, be it sexual or not, but even more so sexually. But I still don't understand how a person can just casually be having sex while still working on being in something serious with someone else. How do you
Well,
make the proper wise decisions?
you skip an element of the fullness of this argument, because the
Mhm.
opposite of monogamy is not necessarily just going around having casual sex. Even when I talked about poly relationships, you're talking about poly from the standpoint of people who just have multiple partners, or they get that, or you what you call open relationship, or some people who are swingers. There's people who practice polyamory, which was even more so what I was referring to, where it's not just about casual sex, but they give themselves the freedom to love more than just one person.
Right. That's what I was
So,
talking about. I'm like,
okay,
that's
so even
very
in an instance
different.
like that, you're not just casually having sex. You're having people who you have a connection of energy, you have certain feelings and emotions for this person, but you're not limiting yourself to monogamy. So again, that comes full circle back to what you and Jules were saying. You having sex with different people and all these different energies. Not necessarily. You can have sex with multiple people and not get bogged down by some type of soul tie or some negative energy. I think it's more what you give it as well. And to your other argument, Denise, and I don't fully disagree with you, but I am going to argue with you for the sake of doing so. There was a point in time, especially between church, being a church leader, me doing freethinkers, and having some conversations would drain the ish out of me. I mean, and it's the conversation, but oftentimes it would be the energy of certain people would drain the mess out of me. Now, was it that person, or was it my lack of mental maturity? Because what I tell you now, the same people or the same conversations that I listen to now that would have drove me up a wall and I've been ready to come outside of my own character, those conversations don't bother me the same way. It's not because of the people or the energy that they bring. It's that I am more secure in who I am, and I firmly feel like my energy is usually a dominant energy. So even if you come with me with a lesser energy, a low level energy, it's not going you're gonna have a hard time standing in the presence of somebody. I always think the greater light overpowers the lesser light. And if I'm being overpowered and I'm drained, is because I have a lesser light.
I don't think so. I think if you choose to vibrate on the same frequency as a person who is vibrating negatively, then you can be affected by it. But if you choose to say, that's what you're on, but I'm not going to be on that with you, I don't think it's a matter of what light is brighter or more dim. It's whether you choose, like you're saying, what you want to put energy towards.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you look deeply into the theory of relativity, light, energy, they're all connected. So even when I'm using the term light, then it's still talking about energy.
Okay. But still, I feel like you did not answer my question, which is like, how do you actively have sex with other people or multiple people while trying to pursue a serious relationship? Have you ever done that? Have you ever been actively having sex with other people and then had the wherewithal to be like, although I'm enjoying sex with you and also you, I want to be in a relationship with this person.
Yeah, that's one of the things where you talk about. At this point, I think that's just that may be what Nikki's talking about. You know, it's going to be different, and maybe men can't understand it because we're not being penetrated, like she said, and that's one of those things to where, like, even we've just learned to accept a lot of what y'all saying, even when you're talking about just monogamy, infidelity, what your expectations are, or when someone breaches that, like the devastation that I see some people have. I mean, I get it because I've heard it enough. I don't think it's not valid.
Well,
but
what do you mean? Elaborate. Devastation.
When like, okay, so a woman gets cheated on, I can't believe it. I'm distraught. How could he do this to me? I thought he loved me. I thought he cared about me. I'm like, okay, why don't he? You equated all that up that he don't love you and he don't care about you. He don't like you. He never did.
No fucking respect for me. He had no love for me. Hell yeah, that's right.
Right, exactly. You equate all of that from a natural action like that, and it's like the part of me who hears this from multiple women and some people all together. I get it in my head because I've been told so many times, but instinctually I don't. From a natural standpoint, I don't get it.
So you find out your wife is out there fucking other men, it's not going to hit you like that?
No, and that actually happened.
Your ex?
Yes. And it's like, okay, so what's going, like, I've had more heated conversations on Free Thinkers than I had about a situation like that.
Damn. But was her infidelity, was she first? Did she step out first?
Yes.
So so your response to her infidelity was that, because I know you guys obviously, y'all battle with that a little bit back and forth, but she went first, and that was your initial response?
Yeah, I was like, so okay, so what
do you think that, and I mean, that was obviously new for you at that moment, so maybe not, right? But do you think that your response to that could have been unsubconsciously because you were ready to get the fuck out of there, and now she just gave you a reason?
No, I was very.
I mean, was the marriage okay? But come on, man, was the marriage perfect peaches and cream and everything was sunshine and fucking roses?
We had a great marriage. Now, if you hear some of the stuff that happened once we split, then you'd be like, no, we had a great marriage. Our biggest strain was just financial stuff. We were both broke. She was trying to get through school, and that put more of a strain than anything. But we really we did not have have issues. We was good.
So then, moving forward in relationships, have you toyed with, come to peace with, thought about, maybe engaged in practicing like an open relationship or like a poly relationship, or is monogamy still something that you prefer?
I don't know. All I know is my girl ain't going for that, so it ain't even on the table right now. ain't much to talk about right now.
That means that you
it ain't worth me talking about.
Hold up, because that means you actively pursued someone who you knew before you married was not going for that shit. Like,
And I was okay. I was
You were
100%
He's
okay.
okay
with
with
which
that.
means
Yeah, he's okay with that.
ultimately,
But
you
it
were
would
okay with
have.
that.
What's that?
Ultimately, you were okay with that because you pursued her knowing ain't no way in hell she would go for that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
If,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
if that were
He
something
said,
that you, as a man, if
he
that
said
were
he got the
something,
girl. He got the girl he wanted. So
yeah.
but see,
But as a
whatever
but
you
the
man,
want
thing
to
is,
do, he
and,
with it.
if
but this is
poly life was something that you were seriously wanting to pursue, then you wouldn't go for
no,
people who
no,
are
no,
monogamous.
and that's what I was about to say, Jules. And
Yeah.
this is another side of it. I said, see, and this shows how people misread and take things a certain way. Not saying y'all, but people can. Like based off this conversation, a lot of people be like, "Oh, Q would like to be poly." I didn't say that.
Right.
I said I'm open to the thought of it. To the like, let me while we're
Right.
talking about porn, let me tell you something about porn. There's certain things that I've seen in porn that really interested me and really looked great. And then I actually tried it. I'm like, yeah, no, that ain't for me.
This don't
But
work.
you had to try it first, right?
Oh, exactly. So I don't throw out someone for their interest or their opinion about it. And for y'all, like y'all heard of reverse cowgirl?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, looks very good on video. Looks very good.
You're
Don't
not
actually,
a fan.
it don't actually feel as good as it look. I'm like,
Yeah,
But
it's more sexy looking,
Right.
and even in real time than it is like feels the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
so but what I'm saying is someone who's open enough to say, I'm curious about it, oftentimes they will get labeled as that. Now we talking about, the reverse cowgirl or let me go crazy. If I saw like you get a golden shower, y'all know what golden shower is.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, I'm not completely turned off by that. Somebody would turn around and be like, oh, Q like to this. I ain't never did nothing like that in my life. I just said, like, so the thought and the idea of something, people will attach it to you like that is you. I may try something, I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I ain't like that at all. But just for someone saying that they're open to the thought of something, then you automatically people just love to label you. And that's another thing that shuts things down, because now a person doesn't even feel free to say, I wonder about this. Because nowadays, if you wonder about it, then that means that you want to do it, or you want to be it, or you want to, like, no, just curious. That's
That's finding
it.
that person that you can have deep enough trust with to be able to say those things and explore those things and not feel judged by.
It's almost impossible.
It is,
because society trains us
exactly
different.
Right. It's almost impossible nowadays.
Right.
And when we look at, like, back to the cave dwelling, there were depictions of, in ancient Egypt, there were cave pictures of sexual acts. There was the Greeks, the Romans, all throughout history, there have been art that is sexual. And 1883, the first private printing of the Kama Sutra happened. 1883. I mean,
1883. Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was older than that, but 1883 apparently. I just looked up, and so it is definitely the technology has gotten so advanced compared to where it was, because even in 1883 they were writing about all the different positions and drawing pictures of people in the acts of all of the things. And I remember my parents having the Joy of Sex book. That was a big thing in the late 70s and early 80s. Everybody's parents had the Joy of Sex. And I remember going to, like, friends' houses to go to sleepovers, and they would be like, oh, guess what, we found him. And it was like a big thing.
Nudie, naughty.
Yeah, look at those things. And I mean, when Q was talking about, they passed a picture around. Like, I remember that Joy of Sex book being one of the first times that I saw pictures of stuff that as a kid, it was so shocking. But the stuff that's available now for these children, the hardest core of the hardest core is 2 clicks away, is invading their phone. I mean, everybody's talking about the past 2 weeks, all getting tagged in these porno sites, whatever.
Yes.
I'm getting multiples a day. I'm having to remove the tag, report the post, block the site, the post, whatever. I'm getting multiples a day, and it started about a week and a half
20 a day, easy.
Yeah.
Easy. And actually somebody on People of Round Rock posted about it. They're like, is anybody else getting these weird porn tags? And there was like 60 comments of Me Too's basically by the time I was like, so basically what are they doing? Because it's not just like a few people who are clicking on the Twitter X link. Like everybody on social media right now or on Facebook right now is strangely getting international porn tagged to your page. Like, what the fuck?
That's so scary, y'all.
Denise, it is all
let me say
over
something
like
really quick.
literally the planet. It's like, what the fuck? What did you say, Q?
I have an observation. I just said I have an observation based off of me ranting a second ago. If you go. Oh, thank you. I don't know if you want to come in. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you. If you have not, you and your partner have not discovered something that you don't like to do sexually, I will question if you are in a healthy sexual relationship. Because if you haven't even came to any conclusion of, yeah, I don't like this, that means you're not even exploring. You're not asking yourself the right questions. Your partner may feel uncomfortable coming to you. Like there is a certain level of disconnect if you haven't found out what you don't like yet.
Right.
I agree with that.
That's very true.
But a lot of women are also taught from early age that you don't complain. Like you don't hurt a man's feelings. Like you don't tell him, and you certainly can't acknowledge that you enjoy pleasing yourself. You certainly can't acknowledge that you use toys. Like there's so much shame still around sex that I don't think people even are comfortable sometimes admitting that they fucking like it. Let alone the, oh my God, let me try reverse cowboy or anal or multiple people, or how many women that are my age who will say, oh, I've never had an orgasm, blows my fucking mind. Like, why are you even doing it? That, you know what I'm saying? But like,
these are
what
you
is
expect
happening?
and this is the person that you expect to be sexually exclusive to for the rest of your life.
Right.
And you can't have those conversations.
Sexual compatibility is just as important as any other individual compatibility, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
Do y'all think maybe porn is such a big industry because there is so much shame in talking about what you might like sexually, what you want to try sexually, what you're into sexually? And maybe that's because I'm just trying to figure out, why do you think that there's such a big push? Why do you think it's just such a big push? Or do you think this is just the natural progression of what things used to be, and this is just where we are now?
I mean, Sodom and Gomorrah. So like, the debauchery and all of the, the Greek god Bacchus, that was his entire thing, was revelry, drunkenness, orgies. So it has kind of been another cyclical thing, I believe, too, times and periods. And then all of a sudden we end up in these very, very prude and Protestant periods of time. Because the pendulum swings, because it goes so far to the extreme and society begins to collapse in on itself because there's no sanctity of marriage and commitment and monogamy, and there's none of the things that bind family units together, and it all starts to fall apart. And then there's a huge movement to push in the opposite direction again, to say, no, we need to do something for the family unit. We can't have all of this debauchery and this. So I definitely think that it is a gateway for the things that people are too ashamed to discuss and explore. But to Q's point, like if you're with somebody and you've been with them for long enough that y'all are talking about a future together and you're in a committed relationship together, you've chosen to be monogamous, and let's see where this goes. If you're having sex before marriage and you're not exploring those things or don't feel comfortable talking about those things, that's a bigger issue happening. And I think that a lot of society now, I definitely think, Denise, that a lot of people are going to, hey, I can go check it out, look at it, and at least get an idea. I heard about it,
Yeah.
Or I had this idea in my head. I wonder if anybody else has ever had this thought. And because there's so much shame put on anything sex and sexuality for so many years, it's been that way. Now I have the access to go on my computer, go on my phone, and go type little words into the whatever, and find out I'm not alone in that thought, that fantasy that I had. Yeah, but I think that unfortunately, the way that the human brain is set up, the dopamine hit that we get from it stops being enough. They chase the dragon. They chase that first, the first time that somebody orgasms from self-stimulation looking at something. You're never going to get that extreme of an orgasm from it again.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're going to keep getting more and more. So you might get close, but that first time is going to be the pinnacle, right? And then you're going to keep trying to climb that same mountain again. You keep trying to get to the top of that mountain again. And the more extreme what you're looking at, what you're exploring, that might be what's stimulating enough to give you enough chemicals running around in your body to make it worth continuing. But it destroys the individual, just like social media as a whole has destroyed our society and our social relationships. It's so difficult for people to interact on a face-to-face basis, even before the pandemic. Like, it was to the point, it has been getting since 2010-ish. It has just, the social media kind of explosion. MySpace was kind of before that, 2009, 2010. Everybody started getting on Facebook, and it exploded to a point where we have entire generations in the last 14 years who can't have conversations face to face with their peers, but they can sit on a phone or a computer and tell them their deepest, darkest secrets and fantasies. But when they're sitting in the room next to that same person, they're like a little church mouse. They're quiet. They don't have anything to say. They're awkward. They don't know how to interact anymore. And I think that very much that same thing happens with pornography. Like, if a man has gotten to the point where he can see, or whoever, a person has gotten to the point where they can see whatever, and they've gotten used to going and looking up the old trusty, and they pull out the silver bullet and they whatever, then,
So Denise, I think if there were more open channels to communicate, I'm trying to remember what you was asking. If there were more open lines to communicate what sex is and just the nature of it, and if it wasn't so taboo as far as porn, I think porn would still exist. It always exists. I just think that there'd be more. I think mentally we'd have more layers to sex. And there wouldn't be just celibacy or taboo. Like, it's like we just, like, it's one side of it. It'd be a lot more level. So people would enjoy porn, but I think people would understand this is a certain performance style of sex. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is an exaggerated.
Yeah.
Just like the same stuff we see Chris Brown and Michael Jackson do on stage. We don't dance like that at the club. It's an exaggerated form. It is dance. It's just a different, that's stage performance. This is club dance. Like, so what I'm saying, even with sex, with porn, with other things in between, what we see in movies, we'd be more layered. I think that would be the difference.
I've been sitting thinking about this topic since we agreed upon it this morning. And, one of the things I thought about this actually yesterday. So when Denise had mentioned it this morning, I was like, oh, I was just fucking having this thought in my mind with myself yesterday. Just thinking about, self and just relationships and just, lack thereof. And just, I never thought I would still be single. Like, I never thought that I wouldn't have my person. Like, I never thought that. But, here we are, and it is, right? And I've also subscribed to, it's probably going to be like this for a little bit. I really don't see shit changing anytime soon. And so with that, since I'm not necessarily interested in just fucking just to fuck, like I'm not that way. Like, celibacy
60.
is not a,
55 to 60.
55 to 60?
Yes.
55 to 60 what, man?
55 to 60 what?
Year old. Find somebody.
Fuck
55,
no.
We just had that conversation on a thread earlier. You better go check the threads. Hell to the fuck no.
No.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
No.
That's two different conversations. No,
It's so interesting. I'm 45 years old. I'm not going to go that motherfucking high up the ladder, and I'm not going to do that to have to find the man. If I got to do that to settle, then I'm settling, and I'm not going to do that. I'll do that when I'm 65.
Why would you assume that?
I don't want a man 25 years older than me. Like, hell no. Just like I don't want a man 25 years younger than me.
50, that's 10 to 15.
That too.
No interest in being a hospice nurse. Fuck that.
No, I'm just not interested in that. So with that being said, it made me think about like all of the women that I know, most of what I would consider to be good ass women. And I don't think all women are good ass women. I don't. But all of the women that I know who are celibate are good-ass women who aren't necessarily holding out hope per se, but they are just on chill mode right now. And most of my girlfriends have been just sexless and celibate for 6, 12, 18, 24, 36 months. Like, and it's not, and it isn't like there haven't been times where they're like, man, I personally am not one that's like down for fucking to fuck. That's really not my jam. But like, obviously I have some friends who are super duper okay with fucking to fuck, right? And what if the proper man came across their palate, right? But there isn't enough there to grab their fucking attention to keep them interested in the men that are presenting themselves as possible, available, friend with benefit, or no strings attached, or let's just get one off and enjoy each other for however long we do, and then whatever the case may be. And so in having all this conversation about porn and just access to and, different appetites and so on and so forth, like, I wonder if some of that is just a direct relationship to just over sexualization. Women have it too, but that men have for internet porn and just naked women online, or 97% naked women online, that energy is brought to us on our doorstep, and it's like, I'm not finna fuck you. You don't get this, when really you don't care where it really comes from, as long as you get it. And that's cool to be like that if that's what you choose to do.
Let them men be send me a picture.
I know a lot of women who are very celibate, super celibate. And it's interesting because men seem to think that we just fuck all the time, or that we just have access all the time, or we just must have men throwing themselves at us all the time. And I'm like, that is so not the case. Not the case at all. So it makes me wonder, like, when men say shit like that, oh, y'all can have it any day of the week. No, maybe that's because you would fuck any day of the week. Anybody, any day of the week, as long as it was
Nikki,
there.
And if I would, Nikki, if I would any day of the week, who would throw it to me? A woman. So yeah, that there you go, right there. That's where we get the mindset.
No, but I do think also that really, as women, if we put ourselves out there like that's like we just down to fuck whoever, we can get it any day, anytime, all day, every day. That's not a problem. Right. If that's what you put yourself, that's how you portray yourself as a woman. I don't care what the fuck you look like.
Nikki was disagreeing with that, though.
I don't care none of that stuff. If you put yourself out there as a woman who's just down to fuck, you can get it every day, all day, no problem.
Thank you, Jules. And that's what Nikki was disagreeing with. And I'm like, no.
What you saying, Nikki, is that quality women who have spent some time healing ourselves, who aren't just down to fuck, we don't allow the energy to come close enough to us to have that being thrown at us all day. Because the first sniff of it, honey, we cut them motherfuckers off. The first whiff that's what they down for, if that's what they're getting in the end, if that's how they're approaching us, that we've gotten to the point where we understand that energy. And if that's what you coming with, I'm cutting you straight the fuck off from the jump, because that's not what I want in my life. I want a long-term, committed, serious relationship, whether I ever get married again or not. I want my partner, my forever person to do life with. I don't want to just be fucking random, whoever, whatever's. I don't want to just, no. Because again, that goes back to the difference between being men and women. Because as women, we take you in internally. There is an
that wasn't what Nikki was
experience.
saying.
What did you think I said, Q?
The way that men think that you can have sex if you decide that you wanted to have sex today, you can get it. That's how men view women. And you said that's not true. That's not the case. And Jules just basically said, well, that is the case. And then she came back and
it's the quality of men that we don't get, though. We can get men.
Jules. That's back to what I was saying. I'm saying Nikki wasn't saying that, though. She was just saying, like, yeah, we don't have the ability to get it the same way, like as easy as y'all think we do.
Not the ability, just the idea that it happens all the time, right? Like so often when if I say,
I'm not saying it does. I'm saying it can. I'm not assuming that it does. I know that it doesn't. But
and that's just the whole thing.
You don't post thirst trap pictures, Nikki. You're not out here showing your tits in your ass. You're not doing that. The women that we know who get that kind of interaction in their inbox.
No, it's not true. No, because that rule still applied even before social media came into power.
What?
That rule that a woman who wanted to get it, if she wanted to get it every day,
when you out here and present yourself like you want it, you're gonna get it. But if you're out here presenting yourself like come to me correctly.
Well, it's not about what you wear. It's just about you being assertive. All you have to do is just make a request. You can make a request,
right?
And you get laid by the end of the night. I can make a request. I'm not getting laid by it. It's a very low percentage. I may have if I aggressively ask, meaning not asking aggressive, but aggressive in my asking, like I'm constantly asking different people, I might have maybe a 5 to 10% chance to get laid.
No way.
First of all, most men just can't ask. A woman, you can do that, and you have, and I'm not even speaking specific. I'm thinking the average woman that's anywhere between a 5 and a 7. You have an 80% chance of getting laid. On the low end, at least 80%, if not closer to 90 to 95, to get laid that night. And you can give this, like the little lame lines you can get the lamest line you want to. You know what? My boyfriend pissed me off, and I'm trying to get him back tonight. What you doing? Oh shoot, I ain't doing nothing. Like,
why are you so easy? God damn, why are you so easy?
But that's how easy you can say that, and you will be in the club, and you could be ready to leave within 15 to 20 minutes.
Because men are hoes.
And I don't think
we're built differently. We are built differently. That's true.
I believe that. I definitely believe that. And that's certainly one of the things I've learned over these years of being single, because I was used to just one man, right? But then meeting and knowing and be friends with so many different men in between our show here and obviously some of the other shows that we've done in the past, like just having such a raw, honest, transparent conversation about just men and women and sex and relationships and orgasms. And, like I've learned so much that's made me kind of look at how I process men, and not in a bad or a good way, just, an understanding that there are very different perspectives that men and women come from when it comes to obviously everything, but certainly
think
sex.
About this. Well, and we said this in one of the conversations, like at least 95% of all war that this earth has seen comes from the hands of men.
Yeah.
What's that about? So I'm just saying that about the people who act like we're all the same. No, I can't tell you exactly what it is, because it's not just, oh, well, we gotta exert our muscles and this, and because it's it's pride, it's power, it's ego comes into factor. It's a whole lot of
It's testosterone.
it's a whole
and
lot of
estrogen,
different
too.
things. But what I'm saying, all I'm saying is we're just wired differently, and people, there's some things you might try to pinpoint, but a lot of stuff. Why are we the way that we are? Why do we go to war more? I mean, we not. So just like that, is something inside us that wires us differently.
Well, but also
Maybe
it
that
is hormonal
applies
too,
from a
though.
sexual
Q.
standpoint as well.
Q, it's
What's that?
definitely hormonal too, though, because I have friends who are no longer with us. They're long departed, and they wound up becoming a married couple, but she had a hormonal imbalance because of PCOS or some of their whatever. And the things that the things that they did, I didn't know anything about Club Colette and some of the other places in New Orleans, the swingers type clubs and all of the things, until after her husband passed away. And I got to hear the whole experience about a lot of the things. And when they were married and together, I got to hear a lot of the whatever, because I don't judge. As long as you ain't doing it behind somebody's back. As long as everybody's on the same page, I don't give a fuck. Y'all having fun. Ooh, that sounds interesting. That's my reaction's gonna be like, I don't know if that's for me, or that sounds interesting. I'm not a judgment person with stuff like that. So, but the hormonal imbalance was a huge part of why she was so down to do all the promiscuous things that she was doing. And I say that because when she changed doctors and they found out exactly what was going on, and they got her on the right therapy, and because she had male pattern baldness happening. And when they got her testosterone levels down and they balanced her estrogen levels, all of that bullshit stopped. By this time, she had been married. She had been widowed twice. She had 2 dead husbands and was on her third relationship, getting ready to get married to that one when they balanced everything out. And all of a sudden, she stopped being the wild and crazy swinging, let's do the thing. Now, she was open mentally to all of the things, but literally her sexual appetite for it was no longer there.
Right.
And part of it, you would say, oh, well, aging, okay. But for somebody who's been, I met her when I was 17, so she was like 19. Somebody who's been that way for 30 years to suddenly in a matter of 6 months lose that? No. That is a genetic, that's a hormonal, that is a chemical thing that's happening too. So I definitely believe that not only is it the structure of the body, it's the chemicals we have coursing through our bodies that have a lot to do with those things too, no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. I would not have thought it so strongly had I not known somebody for 30 plus years who went through that,
just like that,
saw the change. Her hair started growing back in, like other things with her figure started changing. And all of a sudden, like her appetite for all of that just kind of waned away. And now she's got this man, at that point she had this man in her life who she was in a serious committed relationship with, but she was also allowing other people in because that had been her thing. And she was cool with all that. So they had this really wild and crazy polyamorous kind of lifestyle going on. And all of a sudden, when her hormones got balanced out, she went, I don't want to do that anymore. That's wild. And had to struggle with the whole, well, how do I take that away from him when I gave him this and I offered it to him? And now I'm not cool with it anymore because I don't have this chemical drive for it anymore. So like there's a lot of reasons why we're very different. And the hormones is a huge factor in it.
Sure. One of the things I thought of earlier when I was thinking about the topic really quickly, and then we'll jump off of this, is I feel like celibacy is about self, right? So to me, celibacy isn't about sex so much as it is about it's a self exploration. And it isn't about where I put my penis or my vagina. It's where I put my spirit. It's where I put my whole being. It's where this temple goes, where I allow it to go, what I allow to come to it, what I allow to penetrate it, what I allow to penetrate. And I think for me, that's what, I don't know, that's what makes me, that's where my healing comes in. That's where my alignment comes in with head, heart, and spirit, is it's a journey of self. And it isn't even like a journey because I don't want to have sex with somebody. I know what I do and what I don't want. Like, and through that journey of self, like, it just gets stronger and stronger, you know, to where today, 8 years later, single, I'm like, well, I wanted to have happily ever after, and I want to have a partner forever. Like, I believe in love. I don't believe all men are scum. Like, I don't believe bad things about love, but I am at peace if it doesn't come to me again in the way that I had always hoped that it would. That I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that, you know. And sex is not confusing that, or, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Unclear transparency, you know, with somebody that I'm having sex with just casually is not clouding that. Like, it's not tainting that. It doesn't hold any weight on the self-exploration side to the healing journey. So that was what I thought this morning. I was like, celibacy is about self. That's really all it's about. So I loved it. I hate that we lost Denise tonight, but that was a great topic. I know. That was a great topic. But yeah, the Bumble ad that says, you know, celibacy ain't the way to go. Boy, if that ain't pushing sex and selling
it's just like Chick-fil-A when you got cows talking about eat more chicken. I mean,
eat more chicken.
Right.
It is, but damn it, you know.
So the reason I was telling Denise I disagree with that whole I agree with the slogan.
Uh-huh.
I was being a little light, but from the standpoint of thinking that celibacy is the long-term answer. Like I think it's good for a period and for a season for you to find yourself.
Sure.
But don't lie to yourself and be like, oh, I don't never need to have, you know, it serves its purpose for a period of time. But you don't want to sit there and tell yourself. Yeah. But that's perfect. Don't tell yourself that you are. It's the problem comes in when people start lying to themselves.
Right.
Or just like with you, Nikki, you're like, yeah, I want to find that person. I don't know when to be. You have people who will lie to themselves. I don't need nobody. I don't want nobody.
Right.
Like, yes, you are good. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna make it by yourself. But don't lie to yourself and say you don't want anybody.
I don't need nobody.
Right. So that's all I'm saying. Is like, you know, yeah, this is necessary for a time for me to, you know, realign myself. I'm taking a period of celibacy, and unless you are just if you asexual or you just don't, you know, if you're not a sexual being, that's one thing. But if you are, then, you know, be honest with yourself that this is necessary for a season and just a season.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is,
you only get 4 months. That's all you get.
No, it's a healing season. It's a realignment season, but it's not a 3 month or a 6 month, 1 year, 2 year. What it is, or whatever it takes for you to feel right within yourself again.
Absolutely.
To be able and willing to open yourself up to that, opening yourself up to another person intimately like that, because at this stage in our lives, if we are monogamous people, we shouldn't be out here just looking to fuck. We should be looking for intimacy on all levels with a partner. True. And so if you can't stimulate me intimacy mentally, and I don't feel emotionally that we have an intimate connection, I have no desire whatsoever to be intimate physically. And, you know, that's something that you learn over a lifetime, that, you know, it's easy just to fuck, but that's not where it's at. It's a very empty thing if that's all that it is. I want all the rest of it too. And I can wait till I have it. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I agree. I love it. I want to look at the calendar really quick. Let me see. What's today? Today's the 14th. Okay, so May 28th is our last Tuesday of the month. So not next week, but the week after that will be our last Tuesday of the month where we'll meet in person. So y'all put that on your calendars. try to join us on May 28th up at the food truck. We'll have, of course, details on the Facebook page. But y'all come on up. We do not record those sessions live, so it's just a totally in-person, no holds barred conversation. But 2 weeks from today is our last Tuesday where we meet in person live.
Woo,
And happy belated Mother's Day to all of the moms out there.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy belated Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And yeah, this is great, man. I love getting into conversations that get into our, you know, our real nuts and bolts of like who we really are, right? And sex is a very interesting conversation for a lot of people. So is celibacy. So this was cool. I'm glad we got to have this tonight. And thanks for being honest and raw as usual.
I bet not ever getting a diss battle with somebody. They have all kind of ammo on me.
You want to close this out?
Bye. Oh, you waiting on me to end?
Share.
All right. Good night.